Yo,
You.
welcome back. This is Geeks Unleashed, episode 211. I'm Mark,
I'm Steph.
and welcome back. This is the all new, all different Geeks Unleashed. Before we get started, if you are on YouTube, thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe, like, etc. If you're on the podcasting world, please again do similar, leave 5-star reviews, etc. And if you're on Spotify, which I think is the only podcast platform that allows you to do this, you can also comment and interact on the episode. So we would greatly appreciate it. Um, Before we get into anything, man, I wanted to say Happy Thanksgiving.
Well, thank you.
How
Happy
much?
to,
Happy
East-
nothing because we
yeah, I was gonna say same to you, my good
yeah,
sir.
yeah.
Uh,
We can do Happy Thanksgiving. We don't celebrate it over here, but that's fine. It doesn't mean
you
we
guys,
can't be thankful.
what about Don't you guys in that November 5th like a holiday for you guys?
I mean, it's not a holiday. I mean, we throw fireworks and stuff like that. So
Okay.
we don't have a day off for it though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're not likely to give us a day off for someone who attempted to kill the government. So. I think it's more a celebration to remind us of what happened to him. So he got caught.
Well, his anarchy, yeah, the plans for anarchy.
Yeah, I think that's why we have that celebration, just to remember the 5th of November, because he got caught and I can't remember what happened to him. I think he got hung. So yeah, so don't try and blow up the Houses of Parliament because although we don't have the death penalty anymore over here, but
Really?
no, that's been gone a long time.
States are wild. I'm just always shocked to hear
Hold on,
different parts of
UK
the world.
removing the death penalty. When did UK remove the death penalty?
What a start.
The death penalty was abolished in 1965. There we go.
Oh, wow. Wow.
In 1998, the Human Rights Act brought about the final abolition of the death penalty, banning entirely. I think it was. I mean, it was gone.
What do
Um,
you guys do with like the really bad criminals? Do you extradite them
prison.
sometimes
This
to
prison. This is prison. So
and
I
they
mean,
just
they have different levels of prison. They have softer prisons. They have
right?
certain prisons that even have like a day release thing, and then they have other prisons that are completely like locked down. And we do have obviously where the extreme people are put, but we also have isolation and stuff. But we don't have the same space as well. Like our penalties over here,
That's
somebody
what I'm
could.
saying. Well, what if like after hopefully it never gets to that point, but it just kind of gets a little crazy over there, like over here in the states, and it's
We haven't
like
got enough room.
so you're gonna let some of those mass murderers just. I mean,
I think
that's
I think what will happen is softer crimes tend to not get too long. So
okay. That
might
makes
get a
sense.
year,
That makes
2 years,
sense.
sometimes 10 years. But then you've got, I mean, somebody went to prison over here for being racist or something on Twitter for 2 years. That's what the weird thing over here. Like you'll go to prison for 2 years for something like that, and then you'll I don't know beat someone up and you might get 6 months. It's just
That's wild. Yeah.
it's so out of kilter. You know, I understand it's not right to go online and be racist or homophobic or derogatory in any form, but maybe 2 years in prison is not the right message. So,
I feel both crimes. I mean, okay, well, okay. So I'm trying to think of in that stance, like when you say you fight someone, you beat someone up, it might be a case of defense sometimes, right? You're defending yourself.
yeah,
Um, Now if you're the aggressor, it's a different situation. But there's two ways you can play it. If someone gets arrested for fighting, they were either defending themselves or they're antagonizing the situation. Now with someone being racist, there's no way you were defending. You're using fire to fight fire. I guess like say you saw someone saying some racist shit, and you're like, so you say some racist shit, kind of doesn't goes nowhere. So there's not really that defense
I
aspect
just
with
feel like
with that
social
one.
media, if they're not provoking violence and they're not do it, if they're just speaking their mind, whilst it might be ignorant, I think it should just come with a fine initially. But if you keep doing it, then maybe we need to talk about some sort of more serious. But some people have gone just for like one tweet. That's it. You know.
I mean, I don't know I don't know if I don't you think you guys have the freedom of speech over there like as we do, but
Yeah. We're supposed to have
if you're
freedom of
trying to
speech.
antagonize and promote hate at a certain, I think there should be a ramification after a while.
Well, I
Whole
think if it's done one time, maybe it starts with some sort of initial warning. But if it's a continual thing, then
I can agree with that.
yeah. So anyway, let's come back to Thanksgiving. How much turkey did you eat?
Cool. Not enough yet. I know I'm gonna be eating this stuff for the next couple of days, so I'm gonna dive in later on tonight. It's been a not a really busy day, but just
So with Thanksgiving,
fragmented day.
having never done an American Thanksgiving, does everyone come round?
I mean, it is like a holiday where families get together. My family hasn't really. It's like kind of like a minor holiday. I'd say more so for Christmas. That's when everybody wants to get together. But Thanksgiving, some people will overlook it. Like me personally, I've missed a couple of my Thanksgivings just because I'm just like, meh. I'll see you guys at Christmas. It's a
Yeah,
month
all right.
now.
Because I always got the impression over here that Thanksgiving's bigger than Christmas.
No. We love Thanksgiving over here. Don't get me wrong.
No, that's
It's a weird, yeah. It's, I mean, it's just another excuse to be off work, and have a day off, eat, relax. But Christmas is definitely that. And, Christmas and Halloween, I would say, are the most festive. I mean, then you'd be very patriotic country, so 4th of July as well. I don't really care about too much.
I'm not down
I
with
don't get
celebrating
too
that day.
excited for that.
You guys are traitors.
Treason.
Yeah, treason. Yeah, treason day for us. What I wanted to do, and we discussed this for Thanksgiving, and it being a pop culture show, is anything in the pop culture world that you might be thankful for. Hold on a second before we move on. What's this? Thanksgiving is just the beginning of the Christmas season. I can imagine. I can imagine that's probably in America. We don't really have that, so I can't relate, unfortunately, Sal. But
it's pre-Christmas. We're just gearing up. It's like getting ourselves.
We literally just dive straight in. Like Christmas.
I feel like that's like why I say like it's kind of like some people skip Thanksgiving because some people will be like, I feel over here like it was like after Halloween ended. I could have sworn a few weeks ago, like early November, I heard a Christmas song, and I'm like, wow, we haven't even hit Thanksgiving yet. They used to at least wait till like the end of November, but it's like they're like, after Halloween, it's straight to Christmas. Yeah. So yeah, it's a pre-Christmas.
I feel like I wish we did have Thanksgiving because it sounds like a cool thing. So we obviously have different holidays, but we have, in addition to Christmas, we have Boxing Day over here. So
Boxing Day.
Yeah.
It's in December? No, January.
It's the 26th of December, so it's straight after Christmas Day. It has no real meaning now, but I believe it was related to something to do with the war or something years ago.
Okay.
Right, yeah. So Thanksgiving, I had a chat with Steph about this is a pop culture show, and I've been alive for a long time now, in my 40 years, and I've come across many franchises and one-off movies in the pop culture, or comics and TV shows, that things that I'm thankful for, things that I like to revisit. And I thought this could be a moment for me and Steph to shout out some pop culture things that we're thankful for, things that are, like comfort food, but in the pop culture world. So, Steph, is there anything that you would like to give thanks to in the pop culture world?
I was thinking of some more recent, but something more recent tied in there with nostalgia. I am a big fan of the Jack and Daxter series.
Oh yeah.
And I've recently, it's been my goal because I haven't played those, and I've started them. Like I started my goal years ago, like about 6 years ago, when I had my PS4, was to beat it in chronological order because it was like the my playthrough when I was younger was never like I was like, oh, I kind of remember that, but I wanted to have like a streamlined series playthrough. So attempted that. PS4 took a shit. But long story short, I'm on the trek to that currently. I've been like I told you guys last week, a few days ago. I've been giving some love to my PlayStation, and I've been diving down a rabbit hole. I finished Jack and Daxter 1. Ace Daxter. There was a PSP game that they ported to the PS5, but it was like a sequel that takes place in between Jack and Daxter and Jak 2. And
Mhm.
now I'm halfway through Jak 2, which I know that's a lot of people's favorite out of the series. Mine is probably 1 or 3. Um, 2 is so frustrating, for no reason. I think they really streamlined that irritation in the third one. But yeah, thankful for that series, man. It's just it's like you said comfort food. Like that
Mhm.
is a
Yeah, yeah.
comfort game for me. Like it just always gives me good memories, good vibes. Love the design, the characters. Um, so yeah, and I've been making my way through the Uncharted series, and I plan on hitting The Last of Us too. I'm a big Naughty Dog fan.
Yeah, those I love those Uncharted games, and the first Last of Us I've completed. People may have heard me in the podcasting world mention Last of Us Part Two many times. I have managed to tip over the halfway point now. It's a big game, and I'm a busy man, and I kind of jump in and out of it. But I think it's this Christmas period. I have nothing to do, and I would like to finish off. I say nothing to do in comparison to last year. It's weird. Last year, I remember going out for my staff Christmas do on the 19th of December and completing on the purchase of the house that I'm in now on the 20th of December. And what a stressful period
Okay.
of time that was. And we had an overlap. We had our old house for about a month while we had our new house. So we were
Mm,
kind of in and out of two houses for 2 months. So for a month. And even when we handed the keys over, oh man, like we were made to go back and clean the oven, and oh, it's just horrible. So me and my wife, and we had all my family around last Christmas in my old house, like my sister, my brother, my mum and dad, and then my uncle came around Christmas Day. It was like a full-on thing. So I promised my wife this year, like that's not going to happen. So only her mum is here Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and it's five of us. And then on Boxing Day, we're going to my mum and dad's. And because I said, like,
nice.
we're not, I said, because with my mum and dad, it will be my brother and sister and a bunch of others as well. So I just said to my mum, we'll come to you this year. We're not doing Christmas like with the numbers this year. Right. So Thanksgiving, I don't celebrate it. It sounds brilliant. I wish we did. But in regards to pop culture, there are many things I would say I'm thankful for. You mentioned the Uncharted series. I think that's a great series. I remember bonding with my mate Reese over that a lot when I first got PlayStation. But when I was thinking about this, I was thinking the Lost television series. That got so many conversations with me at the time when that was coming out. I've actually rewatched that show um, twice in full, but I have occasionally, sometimes just randomly gone and watched episodes. Now you might go, oh, you can't redo that because it's an ongoing story, but sometimes I have. I just felt like jumping in and grabbing a random episode and
There's particular episodes. There's like forget which one it was called. Tabula Rasa, I believe, was a cool standout. And there was like a Desmond one that I thought was really cool. The dude that was in the bunker and shit.
Desmond.
Yeah, Desmond. And there, like in particular, like there's a Hero season 1 episode, like in terms of television, like there's an episode where it's kind of like you can tell it was inspired by Days of Future Past, where it's like everything is like 7 years in the future and everyone's drastically different, and that's like the only episode. I bought that on my Xbox long ago,
Mhm.
but I loved that particular episode so much. I like to rewatch it from time to time just because it's cool on its own. You don't need to watch the rest of the series. Maybe a random person, if they're I mean, I think it would stand well on its own because it's a one-off, like Days of Future Past. Like you could just see these characters like, oh, they must just be this badass like Milo Ventimiglia. Um, forget the name of his character, but he could like absorb powers, and he was very like in the present day. He was very like kind of like wet behind the ears, like a red shirt in a lot of ways, like learning and shit. He
Hmm.
wasn't a red shirt, he's an OP actually, but in the future, he was like this badass dude that had a full understanding of his powers, could control them fully. He was like a force to be reckoned with. So you like got saw the potential of this, what this dude could become. So it was like it's a really cool standoff one episode. But yeah, back to Lost. My bad.
No, no, no. You said about you mentioned Desmond and the thing. I've actually gone back and rewatched those first three episodes a few times when they get into the hatch, and those
Mm.
first three episodes are essentially the same episode, but all from different viewpoints. Which, in the beginning, when that first came out, really irritated me because it came out weekly, and we'd had this such build up in season one to the hatch, and then we had the summer break, and then we come back, and it's like you spent 3 weeks before we even have any real answers. But on a rewatch, it doesn't bother me because you can just binge it and kill 3 episodes out in 2 or 3 hours. But yeah, Desmond is one of my favorite characters from Lost. He
Same.
was such a brilliant addition to the Lost franchise. Lost is one of those things where even though they ended it and they ended it well, I would happily have it come back. I would
In what
somehow.
what aspect?
I don't know. I don't know. That's the things they tied a lot of it up, but the island's still there. So
Yeah, I would. So that like that's what I'm saying. Would you like have it like it's a new cast of
it would have to be really,
well, yeah.
except for Hurley and Ben.
Well, yeah, because they're the caretakers of the.
Although
But
what I think,
Linus, he's old as shit now. Like they would have to get it going on it.
well, I think the best thing for me to do would be that they aren't in it either. That something has happened and they're gone. Been handed off to somebody else or something. So
Man, speaking of that, I mean, you got to think of Lost. That was one a very cool TV moment I remember for me where I was like his turn, where you thought he was like this timid, weak dude, and meanwhile he was a mastermind for the others the entire time.
hmm.
Ben Linus character,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
Ben was a brilliant addition too.
yeah, he's a beast.
I honestly, when Ben came in, and you think he's this weak, sniveling little guy, and turns out actually he's the leader of the others. But do you know what? Do you know, there's honestly so many characters. We should do a Lost episode maybe one day. But when they introduced Kate in the third season, not Kate, sorry, not Kate. I forgot her name. The Bond girl.
You talking about the doctor?
Yeah. What's her
Julia?
name?
Was her name?
Julia. Yeah. When they introduced Julia, sorry, Kate's the other girl. When they introduced Julia in the very first episode of season 3, when they essentially I was kind of flipped around now, like Jack and
Mm.
Sawyer and Kate are now prisoners of the others. I honestly couldn't tell you when Julia first got Juliet, that's it. Sorry.
Juliet, yeah.
Yeah, when Juliet first got introduced, I wanted to jump through that TV screen and knock her out. Like honestly, there was moments that would go like the way she was, how Jack was a prisoner, all this and how they treated him. I was like, damn, I would want to take her out. Shit, like that was. I never felt such anger towards a character, but then what was brilliant about her was how they redeemed her, and she became brilliant. How I loved her in the end. It was just such a great turnaround. And Lost, the creators of that show, I loved all the things they did with it, the dynamics, the history, the world building, and it was always about the characters, but the cleverness of it all, like finding a boat or sorry, a massive ship in the middle of the island, and then that was like in season 1, and then in season I don't know 5 or 6 or something, doing a flashback episode to show you how that ship got there, like Mr. Echo,
Mhm.
the plane that they found in season 1. And then in season 2, showing us a flashback episode that plane was his brother's plane. Like, just how they sat that down and worked out the dynamics of the show. It's one of the best like pop culture shows, and I still talk about it now. It irritates
Yeah.
me when people told me that they gave up on it because they didn't get it, and other people that are like, oh, they were always dead. No, they were not always dead. They said that. They made that very clear. They said everything that happened to them happened to them. Oh,
I'll be honest. I watched it on reruns through G4. That's how I did my completion. They used to show that and Heroes actually. I watched Heroes since when it was coming out. But Lost, I kind of you know what? I've caught Lost. Watched that live like the last 2 seasons thanks to G4. They got me caught up with the reruns. But I will say that last season, I remember it ended when I was like 21, going on 22. It was like the spring of 2010, and I remember being a little disappointed. It wasn't bad,
Mhm.
but there's a nice and emotional tie or resolution. But I remember thinking that sideways shit was so I didn't care for it. I don't know. I felt like they could have done something else.
I think there's an element of them not entirely knowing how to end it.
Yeah,
But when people go, oh, they made it up as they went along, I don't believe that. I believe that even that sideways thing, they had that from the beginning. I think a lot of it that they knew from the beginning, but I think their biggest problem was because it was a moneymaker and it was on ABC. The first three seasons were very stretched out, like 24 episodes each, and they were having to stretch the storylines longer and longer. And then that created a friction between some of the actors, the producers, and the showrunners, and even the network. And that's why if you see seasons 4 to 6 are much shorter in run because they finally came to an agreement because they
right.
were like, look, we need to know when the show's going to end because we're
We want
stretching the storyline out
yeah.
and it's getting to that point. And then I think the actor who played Saeed, he was one of the most
Was
vocal
just
about
thinking
his
of him.
frustration about the fact that things were being milked on, they're milking each other.
Saeed, he was an interesting character, but they at towards the end they just had him going everywhere. Like he started out as this fucking mysterious badass dude. You think you can trust him, you can trust him, but you can't. Then he's like fucking just a double agent towards the end. Just that's like the sense I got. Like he's just whoever. Like he like lost his soul at some point or something.
That was in the final few episodes. So yeah, that was in the last episode. There was something that happened where they brought him back to life, but didn't quite bring him
Yeah,
back right. So, but the other thing I want to shout, one more thing was, it's one of my favorite films. I rewatched it this week. I'm not going to do a review on it now or anything, but Seven, I rewatched it this week, and that is such a brilliant show. That just it ages so well. One of the things I really liked about it was the city that they're in. They never name it. They keep referring it to as this place. That's all they keep saying. This place, or not this place, or why have you come to
not
this
in this
place?
place.
Yeah, why choose this place? And all this kind of thing. I liked that. I like the fact that we don't know where it is. It reminded me a little bit of Peter David's Fallen Angel. The
Mm,
kind of mysterious city, you don't know where it is, and that kind of thing. But Kevin Spacey, whatever you might think of him as an actor, he's brilliant though. And just the dynamic between them all. Morgan Freeman is one of his better roles, I would say. I think Morgan Freeman
I
plays
agree.
Morgan Freeman in most of the things he's in, but this is a good version of Morgan
I
Freeman that
mean,
I
yeah,
like.
this is a standout film for everyone involved, from Gwyneth Paltrow to Brad Pitt. Like I think this Brad Pitt has gone on record saying this is like if he had to pick a film to define his career, he would like Seven.
Yeah.
Um, it's legendary. Yeah, it came out 95. Here we are talking about it 40,
Apparently, they
30
were
years.
considering making a sequel to it with Morgan Freeman, but they wrote a script for it and they never used it in the end. I think so. They used it the script, but they didn't use it
It-
as a sequel. It was what's the name? The guy who plays Hannibal. Um,
Anthony
yeah,
Hopkins.
yeah. He was the Morgan Freeman character in the film they created. Um, it was like a legacy sequel. Oh, it's called Solace. That was it. Came out in
So
2015. Solace.
soulless.
Solace. Yeah, I've never seen it, but I looked it up actually after I wrote it because I just out of curiosity I just typed into Google Seven sequel. So it didn't do that well. Made 22 million at the box office.
Yeah, I can imagine. Um, I was pretty up on the films in the 2010s, and I had never heard of it.
So yeah, it says the script was originally planned to develop as a sequel to 1995 thriller Seven. The idea was eventually scrapped, and then they made this film as a standalone. So, but in this,
Mm.
the character that Morgan Freeman would have played started to develop like mind powers or something. I'm glad that never got made. Or sorry, never got made as a Seven sequel. That would have ruined it.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, let's move on to geek news. There's a few bits to shout out. But in general, it's been a quiet week. We both said this. And you know
Yeah.
what? Actually, as I'm saying this, I think I remember last year and even previous years, Thanksgiving week and even Christmas week are quite dull in terms of things that people talk about, like news and stuff. So we'll have to see what next Friday looks like. It could be crazy stuff. All right, okay. First thing I want to shout out is unfortunately people are idiots, and Tim Seeley, he's not had a good time over on Twitter or X. His new comic, which I haven't read, The Amazing X-Men #2. A lot of people don't like it apparently, and I don't think they like his version of Magic, who is kind of quite demonic from the artwork. I've not had a chance to read it.
Mm.
And there's a lot of people on Twitter that have been quite critical of him. A few comments. You're supposed to be. Well, there's a few things that people say, and then there's some people that have told him to absolutely go f yourself, and then do a few other things to himself. Some people have told him to take his own life, which is obviously lovely. And he's completely pulled the plug on his Twitter account, and he's thrown up a post on Blue Sky to say that he's had enough of Twitter. After 16 years, he's on Blue Sky, and he's done with it, and he's equally expressed his annoyance. However, on Blue Sky, I think there's people that are very vocal about not liking this comic also, but at least they're not threatening to kill him. So, comic book fans, there's a certain niche of comic book fans that maybe take their comic book reading a little bit too far.
I'd say that's just the internet, man. It's the world at large. You go on Twitter, you can what's the Twitter version of Instagram Threads.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
even Facebook, you go on anything. So people are complaining about something. It's just the way of it. It's given everybody a microphone and a spotlight, unfortunately, with social media. But yeah, some people aren't built for it. It's and understandably, I kind of look forward to a little spats like that. Good spar, mental spar. Um, Half the time I encounter asshats like that on the internet. I may, they end up not commenting to me because I've made them sound like an idiot. So yeah,
Yeah.
some people don't want to have the energy for that. It's totally understandable. Um, just rather not be on it.
For me, it's like you've created a comic book, but you don't deserve to be told to die. That's just unnecessary. And
No,
I also think you don't like the comic, fine, don't buy it. It's fine. There'll be another creator in 2 months' time, or 6 months' time, or a year's time with another version
oh,
of the X-Men.
I was just telling you about this recently. We had a troll on Verno's channel the other day, but it was from it's some random ghost account, and I'm just sitting there thinking
Oh yeah, that
like,
was me.
it was like, how much of a I don't have the right language for it, but a very timid, unconfident person do you have to be you come over here and troll, but you can't even say it from your chest. You can't say it from your mouth. You got to do it from an account no one knows you're tagged to because you're too much of a cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that does irritate me though.
I don't know if this is true. I've never actually asked, but I saw, for anyone listening, you may not even know who we're referring to, two pop culture philosophers, people, and I saw Verno, it's not Verno, Delaney, who's on Pop Culture Philosophers, clipping some comment that had been left on one of his videos from like a ghost account, and then Robbie in the end commented saying that was me, I did it. I've no idea if it actually was Robbie or whether Robbie was just yanking.
I think he was just trolling.
Yeah. But I did think, actually, how funny would that be if that was Robbie? Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, Tim Seeley, he's created many things. Something we recently reviewed over here was Revival, and not everything he's going to write you're going to love. Not everything, and some things he's going to write and you will love. Regardless, that there's things I've read and I thought were terrible. I have not gone on the internet to let those people know that it was terrible.
Yeah, people that do dramatic shit like that, like tell a writer to threaten writers or whatever, creators, because they're not happy with it. They essentially they have a little bit too much free time on their hands. Because don't get me wrong, we all feel a type of way. You're entitled to feel a way, but how you let that out is a different kind of
Mhm.
matter. Like, like you said, I've read a lot of shit runs, but I've never felt compelled to be like, I'm gonna tell this right or wrong. It's just like, what are you getting out of that? It's
Do you know what? Years ago, I had an interaction, there were a few tweets back and forth with Michael Red, and like it was all pleasant, by the way.
right.
I can't remember which comic it was. I think it was FF. I think it was FF. I think he wrote that with somebody years ago. I can't remember what it was.
Matt Fraction.
Yeah, Matt Fraction. And I wrote this thing online about, and I wrote it was actually when Geeks and Niche was much more of a blog. I wrote a review about FF, and I basically was talking about how much I loved it. But I've never really been a fan of Mike Allred. But when I read this comic, I thought his art really suited the story. So I was like, actually, I'm tilting into being a fan of Mike Allred. I even wrote this in my review and said, I'm kind of surprised how much I've enjoyed his artwork and enjoyed this story overall, etc., etc.
So you
And
weren't an
then,
ecstatics fan, huh?
no, well, I didn't give it a chance. I didn't give it a chance, in all honesty. Uh, oh, is that what it was? Oh,
Oh,
okay. Is
that's
that that?
crazy. Yeah, I was gonna
Oh,
say I
okay.
hadn't even heard of the
Okay.
book.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a digital only book, okay, that Tim Seeley got hassled over. Right, okay. So that's even more of a minute fan base that went for him. But yeah, no, I am. So anyway, so I wrote this review, and then Michael Red tweets me with my link, but like making a dig, going, "Oh, kind of, you loved it to spite me." And then we end up back and forwards. And I was honest with him. I said, "Look, man, in the past, I've never, not really embraced your artwork." I said,
Right.
but this issue for me has really changed my opinion, and I'm a lot more open now to reading things that have been illustrated by yourself. And like we would, but it was banterish, and I
Respectful,
thought,
yeah.
I said, look, I apologise. In the past, it hasn't been for me. But he was honest. He said, look, I've got a unique style, and I recognise not everybody likes my style. And I said, yeah, look, and I guess that's probably something I've not overly enjoyed in the past, but I'm maturing and I've kind of gone into the story and I'm open to it now. So like now, it wouldn't put me off reading something by him, but I enjoyed the playful banter between the two of us. So
Right.
that's just, it's reminded me, there was a guy that used to write for our website, a guy called Chris Romario, who lives in Boston. I haven't spoken to him for years now. And he wrote a review, and I don't remember the comic, but it was a Titans comic book. And he said something along the lines of he felt there was too much sex in the book or something like that. And the writer really went for him, like online, like really was like going nuts at him. Didn't like that comment in any way, shape, or form. Really took it personally. So sometimes it can be the other way around. Like the
Yeah.
creators get their butts hurt.
A
So
little too, yeah, a little too sensitive as
yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah.
That's why I'm saying not everyone's built for the social media and the internet. Like if you are on social media, I think that's like that's kind of comes with the territory. You're gonna encounter idiots.
Oh yeah,
And like I said earlier, the social internet has given everybody a
yeah.
spotlight. Everybody's got a microphone when they don't deserve to have one. But that's just part of what comes. It's part of what comes with the territory.
Hmm.
Um, you can certainly turn comments off, can't you? Isn't that a comment or a feature on Twitter where you can like turn comments off?
On Twitter, you can have settings. I think I'll be honest, I don't really use Twitter like I used to, but I think you can have it that only people you follow can reply or something like that. So I think,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
or you can turn it off in general. But I guess Tim Seeley's found a new home on Blue Sky. So welcome to
Yeah,
Blue Sky.
more power to them.
Right, okay, we've got two trailers. One's only a minute long and one's 2 minutes long. The first one is okay, it actually did come out at the end of last week, but we had a few trailers last week, so I deliberately held this one back to this week, which I'm glad I did considering how light the news has been. It's The Hunger Games: Sunrise on the Reaping. We'll chat about it afterwards, but here we go.
Welcome, Panem, to the glorious reaping of District 12. Twice the number of tributes. twice the glory. It's time for the second quarter quell. Let the 50th Hunger Games begin!
Wow.
I think these games are going to be different.
Wow. Do you know what? That's a big cast there. So this is set 24 years before the original movies. It's the 50th Hunger Games. Follows a young Haymitch, which is pretty cool. And man, the cast is huge. Comes out November next year, so it's a long way off. And yeah, man, the cast includes Joseph Sada, McKenna Grace, Elle Fanning, Glenn Close. There's a few people in there that I recognised. I've forgotten the actress's name, but there's a few people in there. Oh, there's the girl from the Boys spin-off, which we talked about.
Gen V.
Yeah, Gen V. Yeah, the blonde girl who's got the mind control powers. She was in that trailer too.
Oh yeah. It's crazy. I was getting like 28 Days Later Years vibes. And then Ralph Fiennes pops up. I was like, that's cool. Because he's in 28 Years Later.
There's a lot of people in there that you'd be on board with winning. But we know that Haymitch wins. So we already know that Haymitch wins. So that's a bit crap going in knowing.
I'll be honest. The young adult, the YA adaptions. I watch them, but I'm like the Maze Runner. Like these are movies I can throw on, but I'm never like too involved in, so I never know exactly what the overall plot is. I'll be honest. I don't know who Haymitch is and who won.
Did you watch the original Hunger Games?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
Haymitch was so District 12 is where Jennifer Lawrence's character comes from, and what's it called, Sector 12, or what's it called? What they call them? District 12. So District 12 was like the runt of the litter of all the districts, and has only ever had one survivor previously from a Hunger Games, and that's Haymitch.
Okay.
Haymitch was played by what's the older guy called? Woody Harrelson. So Woody Harrelson played the older Haymitch, and he acts as like a mentor to Jennifer Lawrence's character and the other guy who goes into their Hunger Games. So Joseph Sada is playing a younger Woody Harrelson in this. This story is purely about his journey, but we know he lives. So it's a bit crap going into this knowing all these guys are going to get it.
I mean, it's like the journey there.
They hope they twist it around. It's not overly obvious.
So you don't like the Star Wars prequels?
No, I do. I just mean, like, I feel like with these movies, you go in knowing that people are going to get killed off, so it'd be nice to...
but you go into Star Wars prequels knowing everybody's going to die because...
No, I'm going to watch this. I love these films. I'm just saying, it looks like a fairly studied cast, so I kind of don't want, I don't know, it's kind of, who are you going to vote to win, so to speak, but we obviously know Haymitch lives. But I think it looks brilliant. I love those films.
Yeah, it looks fun. Definitely.
Right, the next trailer, I think, I have not watched the first two movies of this film, is a teaser for a third film, which you probably watched the first two.
I think I know what it is.
Look like you've been through hell.
I know where they are.
Where are they?
See you soon.
Looks pretty interesting. I'll be honest, man. And the Strangers movies have always been. I've always gone into. I haven't seen the last two chapters, but I.
Oh, so you haven't seen the first two films?
No, I've seen the first one. No, so they did the Strangers. Then they did this. There was one that came out like 2019 or around there. Lewis Pullman was in it. It was like the Strangers. Let me look it up. I feel like this will be the fifth film. It's either the fifth or the fourth film. I've seen the first two. The one with Lewis Pullman was right. But you know, even the first one it's solid. But they're movies that I'm always kind of wanting more from. But to be honest, like the trailer for this one looks.
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay, so there was the Strangers in 2008, then the Strangers Prey at Night, which also was in 2008. And then there was the Strangers Chapter 1, which came out in 2024. The Strangers Chapter 2, which came out this year, actually in September. And then this is the Strangers Chapter 3, which comes out in February next year.
So what was the? Hold on.
So I don't know anything about the Strangers saga at all. I didn't realize it was 5 movies. I threw this up more because I knew you were a horror fan, and I saw that they'd released this little teaser.
Oh yeah, the Stranger that came out 2018. Pray at Night.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah.
You said that also came out in 2008. That's why I was confused. It came
Sorry,
out
2018. Sorry,
yeah.
2018. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. The Strangers came out in 2008. Sorry. It says The Strangers came out in 2008, and then Pray at Night came out in 2018.
18, yeah.
Yeah.
So I've seen those two. I haven't seen the chapter series, the chapter 1, 2.
Okay, so I didn't know anything about any of these, and
third one looks interesting though. The trailer was definitely intriguing. I'll check.
I hadn't realized that there was these 2 earlier films in 2008 and 18. So the chapters.
Oh, you didn't know the first one's got like Liv Tyler and Scott Speedman and Dennis from Glenn Howerton from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. To any fans out there, he's actually in the movie.
Oh, okay. Liv Tyler and Scott Speedman are in the first one.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
First one's probably the best one.
Right. Okay. Well, okay. I'll tell you what. I'll add that to my list of things to watch. I'll try and get that done before February.
Very dark. Not dark, but it's no happy. You know, it's not a happy movie. Be ready to kind of be let down. Not as in a bad way, but it's just like, oh, no happy endings, bro.
Be ready to be upset.
Yes.
I'll try not to cry. Right, okay. Look, those are the 2 trailers that we threw up some news. If Devon was here, unfortunately, Devon is taking a little bit longer to get back from his Thanksgiving. He had some gaming news. If he pops on next week, we'll be sure to throw him in. But we do hope that he drives safely. Anyway, what we've been doing this week. This is normally what we've been doing in regards to pop culture, not regards to anything else. Although, if you have done something else, feel free to shout out about it. Is there anything pop culture-wise, Steph, that you have been up to this week? Gamed, read, watched?
Yeah, once again, just running through my Jack series and Uncharted, starting my Last of Us playthrough, Last of Us Part 2.
Mm-hmm.
Just giving more love to my PlayStation. it's
I know. Me and
continued.
you. I've known you for 5 years. We only added each other on PlayStation this week, which was your idea. I don't. I
Well,
guess I didn't
yeah,
play
I
that.
mean,
I didn't play that
I've
much, so.
I've just recently started to really add people to my place. It's like I remember we had a joke for like the last couple of years. Like it was my son's PlayStation because he did play it more than I did. But I'm starting to actually try to. It didn't even feel like I had a PlayStation, to be honest. So, like I'd see games like I remember before I had a PlayStation, like, oh man, I got to get a PlayStation so I can get that game. And then I found myself thinking that while I had a PlayStation, I was like, oh no, I do have a PlayStation. I just got to start playing it. So I've been
Yeah.
trying to utilize it.
Have you got the 4 or the 5 or?
I have the 5 right now. I had a 4, but that one ended up taking a shit on me, and I just never got around. So I got it in early 2019. I got it on my PlayStation 4. It was late, but I got it early 2019. Around the time I found out I was having my son, because I was like, you know what? I've been putting this off. Let me actually get a PlayStation and play some PlayStation games before all my money is. I thought I was gonna be broke once I had a child. Far from the truth, but I didn't think I was gonna have anything allotted to me. So I got my PlayStation, but I did get it. I was trying to be MacGyver cheap. I would be being cheap, but I bought it used from GameStop, and it lasted for about 2-3 years
Mhm.
where it took a shit on me, and I just I never got around to fixing it. By the time that happened, the PlayStation 5 was out, so I was like, "I'll just go to the next console." Even though I will say, I do currently have an Xbox X, Series X, and a PlayStation 5. I feel like this is the first time I've ever had, like, both consoles relatively early on in their generation's life cycle, and I will say generation life has been a wash for me. It's cool to have them, but it just seems it would have been more exciting to have like an Xbox 360 and a PS3 at the same time, or an Xbox One and a PS4 at the same time, because they actually had games for them,
Mhm.
especially 5 years in. But yeah, no, I've just been gaming, still just gaming.
I need to. I just don't have the time right now, but I'm hoping between Christmas and New Year. I say I haven't got the time. I'm sure I could probably squeeze in some, but I want to. I think when I get into it, you get into it, and this is
Yeah.
the other trouble when you turn the PlayStation on. Suddenly, 3 hours have gone by, and I know because of that, I haven't got the time to give up the 3 hours. So I could, if I could restrain myself to maybe half an hour here and there, or an hour here and there. And also the other trouble is when I get into the gaming, because I can work from home a few days a week as well. Sometimes for my lunch break, I'll just game, and then I'm like, and then it's a struggle to cut that off and then go back to work. So,
Yeah,
which I
when
do, by the way, I do cut that off, but I haven't done that for like 2 years. So I really haven't played on the PlayStation much for the last 12 months. No, I played and completed the third Tomb Raider of the rebooted trilogy this year.
Shadow.
I then
Yeah.
flipped over to what was that game that me and you were talking about? The zombie one.
Oh, Days Gone. Yeah.
Yeah, Days Gone. I put that on for a little bit, and then I stopped, and then I decided to. The reason I stopped was nothing to do with the game per se. It was more like I was thinking, do you know what? If I'm playing a shit scary game where all these zombie things are thrown at me, why don't I just go and play The Last of Us Part 2, which I haven't finished? So I went back to The Last of Us Part 2, carried on playing a lot of that earlier this year. I finally got up to the halfway point where they flip over to the other character, which I don't want to say anything in case people haven't watched it or read it. Sorry, watched the TV show or play the game. So I'm now at the halfway point where we've swapped over, and I'm no longer Ellie anymore. I'm somebody else, and I've been playing that character for maybe 5 or 6 hours, and that seems like that's going to be going on for another flipping 30 hours at this rate. So I just need to go back to it. But the biggest criticism I've actually heard of The Last of Us Part 2 is how long it is. I just let you know, I've watched a few movies this week, Steph, but nowhere near as many movies as I have the last few weeks. So it's been a busy week, I'm going to be honest. So I have watched some TV too. I watched the first 2 episodes of Alien Earth, but I haven't carried that on yet. But it's good. I'm enjoying it. I finished off Only Murders in the Building season 5 with my wife. That's a show that we watched together. It's probably the worst season of the show. Unfortunately, Disney, TV, Hollywood, whatever, they struggle to let a good thing go sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm still going to carry on watching it, but I think they could do killing the show off now. So. Right, the movies, I've watched 4 movies this week, 7 which we talked about, which was a rewatch. I watched a film called Opus. It's about a cult, kind of. It's all right. The ending is what sold the movie to me. I watched a kids' film with William Dafoe called The Legend of the Ochi. It's an indie movie. I think it was made for about
Heard
10
of that.
million or something. It was all right. 2 out of 5. I rewatched 7, as I said, and then there was a movie I watched last night. I was about to go to bed, and I was just flicking through Netflix, and I came across this indie movie called Puzzle. And it is literally, so it stars Kelly MacDonald. Do you know Kelly MacDonald?
I do not.
She's been in loads of things. Trainspotting 1 and 2, Brave. She was in, I think it was Boardwalk Empire. She's around in a lot of things. Then there was the other actor. Unfortunately, he's passed away now. Irfan Khan.
Life of Pi.
Yeah. He's in Life of Pi. Puzzle Man. Honestly, for what it is, you would not. I told my wife about it this morning. She goes, "It sounds boring." So it's literally about a housewife who the husband, runs his own business, garage. He's got his 2 sons. He's one of these typical. The dad's one of these typical women should be in the kitchen, be at home. All this kind of stuff. And the wife at home starts to get bored. Her kids no longer really need her. They're becoming adults, or they are adults, and she just starts playing puzzles at home, right? And then she's like, "Well, I've completed them." So then she's just in a little town outside New York, gets the train into New York, starts buying puzzles, and then ends up joining like puzzle competitions where she starts to compete and all this kind of stuff. And then along the way, she starts to change as a character, like in herself. She's very timid at the start, and then you see this journey of her starting to stand up for herself and assert her authority, and like within the house, because the husband walks in like from work one day, "Where's my dinner?" and all that. That's how she got spoken to. And in the beginning, she kind of put up with that, but then at the end, she's like, because she goes to storm out to go and buy something from the shop that she said she should have got, and she snaps at him going, "If you walk out, don't come back." And at the beginning, she would never have spoken like that, but a lot of this comes about because she starts to get on the train and go and meet people. And the film starts, she doesn't even have a mobile phone. She's very much kept isolated by many things, and it was actually, I enjoyed seeing the journey of her character, and it started so simply from just buying puzzles to. I don't want to say anymore in case anyone wants to watch it. It came in
I feel like you've already said the whole movie. I'll be honest, it does sound very boring. But I'll give it a gander.
Look, it's not meant to. I don't know. It's not. I wouldn't say go out of your way to watch it, but I put it on, and I think I just more enjoyed her acting,
The performance.
performance. And it isn't. It's not Avengers Endgame, or it's not Mission Impossible. It's just a normal, in a way, really what it is. It's just a day in the life kind of thing, So I actually have held back some information as I was talking, but I thought, when Netflix shows you a little clip as you hover over something, and it was the little clip of her going to buy some puzzles. And I just really liked how she carried herself in that little moment. And I thought, I'm going to give this a go. Why not? So
I respect it.
I probably would never watch it again. It's not a rewatchable film. But it's an interesting movie.
Puzzle? I'll check it out.
Yeah. So, well, it's that time, Steph, before we move into our main event.
It is that time.
Do you know what?
Got some fun facts.
you know, it's quite interesting. So there's a bunch of first appearances here. So we're going to talk about Eyes of Wakanda that came out on Disney Plus. It's a 4-episode series, came out earlier this year. This is what we're talking about as our main event. And there's a few first appearances that are thrown out here. So I'm going to struggle to say this, but the Hatut, Zazi, the War Dogs, something like that. These are the Wakanda Secret Service that the show follows. They first appeared in Black Panther Volume 3, Issue 1, came out in November 1998. So you probably are with me with this. This was one of the initial Marvel Knights lineup, which we're currently revisiting at the moment. They brought Marvel Knights back. The Dora Milaje, or the Female Special Forces Group, also made their first appearance in Black Panther Volume 3, came out in November 1998, which I thought was cool.
Yeah.
The version of Iron Fist that we get in this series is a character called Jorani. She made her first appearance in
The show.
Sorry?
The show, Jirani.
Well, yeah, the show. But Danny Rand, who is the Iron Fist in the comics, he made his first appearances in Marvel Premiere issue 15, which came out in May 1974. Yeah, no, this is her first appearance completely, but Iron Fist as a character. Yeah, right. Okay, then. Achilles, I don't know how to say that. Achilles, yeah, okay. Achilles, the Greek hero, he made his first appearance in Marvel Comics for 289, which came out in November 1979. So I thought it was interesting that most of these characters are, even 1998, to make myself sound old here, they're all significantly older characters.
Yeah, even though 1998, that's it was a very long time ago, but I felt there's a part of me that's like, it seems kind of recent, you know.
I was like 16 or 17, so you know.
Yeah, I remember Marvel Knights being fucking everywhere.
Marvel Knights was huge. I was well into Marvel Knights. I never picked up any of the Black Panther, but I remember buying all of the Elektra, which wasn't very good in the end. I bought all of Daredevil, which was so good. Okay, so spoilers.
Yeah. Yes.
Spoilers. We're gonna be getting into it. Okay, so there's a huge cast. It's a diverse cast. It's an anthology show. Each episode follows in fact a different set of cast. However, the final episode does loop it all back together, which I'm interested to hear your opinion on, if I'm honest.
What's that?
So you know how the series is a 4-episode anthology series, and each episode has a different cast. However, the final episode loops all of it together.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be interesting to eventually hear your point of view. So.
Oh, was there 4? I thought there was only 3 episodes.
4 episodes.
Was there?
Yeah.
Man, So what were was Iron Fist episode 3?
Yeah.
Okay, there was 4. Yeah, I in my head I just canonized it as 3 because the Iron Fist was the one that stood out to me.
Yeah, that's the one that stood out to me. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. But no, the final episode loops it together. But no, so in regards to the cast, we have some common themes throughout, but in the main, each episode is set in the past and follows. So the Lion's Den, which follows an agent called Noni, Dora Milaje, which is in 1260 BC, and then we kind of sort of jump throughout. We've got an episode called Lost and Found, which is set in 1400 AD. Another episode, The Last Panther, which is 1896 AD. Essentially, and it follows a different cast as we progress. So I have had to have this written down. There's no way I can remember all of these years and stuff like this. I'm not one of those history people that can absorb all the dates and everything. So, right, it's got a big cast. Look, I don't think we'll shout it out because it will be here all day. But there's some decent people attached to this. Right, in regards to the creative people, the creators, directors, showrunners, Todd Harris. Harris is a long-time Marvel Studios storyboard artist involved in Black Panther, Avengers Endgame, and this is the developer and executive producers are Ryan Coogler, who also is involved as a director in the Black Panther films and was instrumental in putting this together. And there we go. So I think it'd be just interesting. I think talk about your initial opinion of it, the show.
I thought it was cool. Visually is very appealing. I'm trying to find the right words for it. I don't know if it was necessary. I don't feel like they've really built out Wakanda enough in the MCU at large. Why live action? I mean, maybe you could have the argument that that's what the show is intended for, but in actuality, it's such an anthology series jumping through the years, different eras, that it's really not built. Maybe belief system or like certain values over the years of Wakandans have upheld. Or have it upheld, but I don't know. It's cool for what it is, but I don't know. I don't think they had like a cool Black Panther team up or fight with. I think that might have drawn people a little bit more. Like had it been like an anthology series where you're seeing the different Black Panthers of the different era, I think would have been a little bit more appealing, because you could have still touched on the different aspects of Wakanda culture throughout the different years, eras, and whatnot. But I think because it's not bad, but I don't think it's not really a big draw for people. If you're not like a big Black Panther fan, Wakanda fan, it's not going to be a big draw. Like
This isn't a show I think I've heard really that many people talking about.
I don't think many people have seen it. It's good. It's good for what it is, but that's what it's not. It's very particular. I mean, people should check it out, but it's like, zombies. Everyone knows zombies, but I think because there's a lack of a draw, like I said, had they had a focus on different Black Panthers, I think that would have been more of a draw for people to check it out, and they could have still done what they did throughout the series, but it was from a different foot. But because it's like every character is a different citizen of Wakanda, some people will like that, but I think across the board, it doesn't have much of a main draw for people if you're not like some people don't want, if they're not a big Black Panther fan, they're not gonna, or a Wakanda fan, they're not gonna want to know the intricacies of the Wakanda culture. That's why, having like for instance, I think to my argument that's why like the Iron Fist episode was such a standout for me, because that was a cool draw, something that I was like, oh, I know that character. Hey, it's a different art. So if they would have had more of that, I think it would have registered better. But it was still cool I think it's definitely visually the best thing Marvel has put out with their animation. Over like we just talked about Marvel Zombies and Spider-Man, that Spider-Man freshman stuff. I forget what it's called. I know it's called freshman year at first, but even definitely what if, but it's cool. I don't know what the overall goal was. Maybe just
I think we're both in agreement. This might end up being one of our shortest episodes of our run together. I watched I think the first episode I had to come back to. I put it on and I got like 10 minutes in and I was like, man, this is going to be a struggle. And I persisted with it and got through it. I went into it. I actually, to jump back a bit, I didn't know anything about it. I knew it was related to Wakanda, but I didn't know anything else. So I went into it and I realized it was set in the past quite quickly. And then when I put on episode 2, I was like, oh, it's a different set of characters. So I was like, so then I Googled it. I was like, oh, it's an anthology. And it follows a different groups of essentially agents of Wakanda protecting Wakanda. Animation is beautiful. This is standout, some of the best animation I have seen in a TV series in a long time. Look, Marvel Zombies was brilliant. I'm not even saying that they like one is better than the other. Maybe even they're matched. But
I preferred the Eyes of Wakanda, to be honest, animation. I think it was
okay.
just a little bit more unique. Where I felt like
I like it's more unique, definitely.
Zombies was more of a evolution of what they've been trying to do and What If.
Oh, this has definitely got a unique style. There's definitely a difference in style between this and Marvel Zombies.
Yeah,
Because this definitely has its own animation style, and I'm here for it. I think it's beautiful. It was beautiful to look at. It was yeah, they should be proud of themselves. They've done a good job. In regards to my buy into this, these random characters that I have no idea who they are, getting maybe 30 minutes per episode, and it's not even 30 minutes. I think it's probably 20 minutes with 10 minutes of titles in most cases. Which I was a bit shocked that suddenly 10 minutes before the end the titles are starting. I'm like, wow, they've really dragged the titles on. I was just not that into it. I like the Black Panther films. I think it's cool that Marvel have got this whole Wakanda society, which has evolved technologically, probably even 1,000 years above the rest of the world. They're so far advanced. And then in this series, we see, even like 1,000 years before the current MCU, they're flying around in like stealth planes. And that part I loved. I thought that was cool to get more backstory on Wakanda. But like you said, I would much rather have seen every episode to be a different version of Black Panther and maybe different trials and the origin of the Black Panther itself, rather than just some agents that had to go out and protect vibranium and other resources and bring them back.
Yeah,
That part wasn't really that invested, and there's parts of me that felt quite bored.
Yeah, it's the plots for the story are. There's like, I guess it was like half and half, because there was 2 episodes. There was an episode where the dude, forget which one it was, where he has to like swim across the boats. He's like swimming in the water and he sneaks up to that king. That one was a standout episode for me, and then the Iron Fist episode. But beyond that, I don't know. I think if they were going this route, they should have made sure that every story had like a really deep emotional tie to it. And I think it was like half and half, where it's like 2 of the stories had emotional ties, and then there was like one that didn't, and then the wrap up. But it's cool for what it is. But like, I think the major problem is that people don't have any interest. Like, I think that's a big pill for What If and Zombies, is that it was playing with the Marvel universe at large. Like, this is niche in a way where it's like, if you're not a Black Panther fan, it's not gonna really appeal to you to check out the world of Wakanda.
Yeah, this is
It's
definitely
beautiful.
the world of Wakanda and the history of Wakanda, and showing random people throughout the ages who have played significant importance in the foundations of the Wakanda history.
Yeah.
And that is great. And look, there was that one episode with the big guy who had the crazy arm who fought Hercules, and I love that we had Hercules. I thought that's cool. I didn't really get that Hercules got killed off though, because we see Hercules in one of the 4 films, I think, at the end or something. So
Well, the gods can't really die, I guess.
that's why I started to think, like, is he? I guess we're just gonna, I don't know, do whatever to serve the plot of that particular story. But I thought that was cool. I thought it was cool, the vibranium arm thing that he had, and he defeated Hercules. I thought it was cool that we brought Hercules into it. And I think this little mini-series or one-off event that we brought little different people in, Iron Fist, for me, that was a standout as well. I remember I messaged you yesterday, I think, saying, like, that's my favourite character from the show right there. Is it Durrani? Yeah, Durrani, yeah. I honestly think she was funny. I just thought she was kick-ass, and I just loved every moment of it. I would be here,
I loved it.
Here for a series with just her.
I mean, her character's issues, whatever for me, but it was just more or less that they finally have shown like the appeal of how Iron Fist can be alive. Like we didn't get it. This is what I'm saying. Like those Netflix shows kind of suck ass in terms of interpretation. But it showed how cool and effective Iron Fist could be live action wise. You know what an Iron Fist character, whether whoever, it didn't even have to be Danny Rand. Whoever takes up the mantle of Iron Fist could be a very visually cool character. You know,
Oh, I love that Colin Wong got the Iron Fist at the end. Although I did like the fact that Danny Rand had the Iron Fist guns from Ed Brubaker's run. I thought
yeah,
was
but that
cool.
wasn't something that Danny Rand ever learned. They were trying to. Like I said, it was a disservice. That Danny Rand Netflix series did not earn it. He did not earn it. That's why Colleen Wing took it from him, that mantle. But yeah, I mean that was because I am a big fan of the Brubaker Fraction run. But you know, I thought it would, if you're gonna go that route, bring in Orson Randall. He's the OG, the originator of the twin pistols with the chi shooting the chi bullets.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know.
I've not read that Brubaker run. It's something that when that happened, I was like, oh, I need to go.
It's more so Matt Fraction. Ed Brubaker, it's kind of like it was like when Secret War started off, Bendis helped Hickman get the first arc off the ground. That's essentially what Brubaker was doing with Fraction. Like he just kind of helped him guide the project, but it was more of a Matt Fraction book.
So Durrani is voiced by someone called Joanna, but with one N.
Johanna,
maybe? No, I don't know.
I know. Yeah, you said one N.
Yeah. Joanna, but with one N.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah.
So yeah, she's been in like little things here and there. One episode of The Flash, and one episode of NCIS, one episode of SWAT, and 6 episodes of Hightown. The show she's had the most amount of action in is something called The Glory. So 16 episodes. But anyway, I think she was a fun character. I enjoyed her presence. I like the fact that the MCU through this series was expanding on some of the mythology that we've got already. I know that they don't want to fully commit. We're getting Jessica Jones back. We've got Daredevil back. We've got the Kingpin back. But they have yet to touch on Luke Cage and Iron Fist. So we've got an Iron Fist through this mechanism. I don't know what they'll do with the character down the road. It's unlikely that they'll bring her back in the present time, but you don't know with comics. They could do whatever they want, I suppose. Yeah, look, overall, I think this was an okay series. You know, it was a kind of one of those things that nobody asked for, but we've got it anyway. And if you're a big Black Panther fan, you're going to love it. If you're just an average person who maybe dabbles in the MCU, this isn't for you. Yeah, I guess that's probably where I'm at, really. Animation stellar. To be honest, the dialogue between all of them works really well. I just think my interest personally isn't there for this.
Yeah, I can understand that. Like I said, it's a very particular niche audience they're going after. Like I don't know. Like it was unique because it seems like even with Marvel Zombies or other the Spider-Man show, they're trying to thread in ideas that they might use or stuff that, Eyes of Wakanda was entirely unique. Like it was an anthology series. It didn't really pick up on anything MCU wise we've seen. Just the Iron Fist reference might have been the only MC, and that's just been in the Netflix shows. Like the movies haven't even recognized Iron Fist. So I don't know. Yeah, it's solid. It's if you want some cool animation, fun tales, definitely check it out.
Yeah, I think once you've exhausted everything on your queue to watch, then maybe jump into this. That's probably where I'm at. Favorite character for me is the Iron Fist character. I don't know. Let's maybe just wrap this up. Really, we don't need to talk about it anymore. Look, it's an alright. It's an anthology series. It delves into the past of the Wakanda Kingdom. It loops back at the end where there's some threat from the future, comes back in time to change things. They kind of break the time rules that were established in Endgame, but there we go. People do what they want on their own things. and they then reference the previous anthology episodes. Look, it's kind of nice that they then tie it together where it feels separate and then they loop it back at the end. That part to me was also pretty cool. I would say episodes 3 and 4 were my favorites, but episode 3 is a pure standout for the fun and just for Iron Fist, I'm going to be honest. So I would probably give this a 3 out of 5.
Not too far off. I'd say 3.5. I just because the animation was so crisp, but I think they, I don't know. I think they could have done what they did in terms of like trying to build out Wakanda while having, like we were talking about, different Black Panthers of the different eras.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, I'm marking it down for that. Personal preference.
This is sitting at 92% on Rotten Tomatoes at the moment.
It's good, but for its own thing, that's what I'm saying. I was almost tempted to give it a 4. Like for its own thing, it's good, but because MCU or the Disney Plus animation is so contingent on it tying into the MCU at large. I mean, it is. I can't argue with the 92%, but I think not everybody's going to be into it. If they can sit down and watch it for what it is, then yeah, I think it's a 4. But if they're looking for like connections to the MCU at large, then you're not going to find them.
Audience though is at 52%.
That makes sense. Yeah,
Mhm.
because the critics are going to look at it for what it is, while the audience might be looking for some overall larger connection.
People have probably gone into this hoping, like me and you, I want a Black Panther every episode.
Yeah. They could
But
at
it's not
least done
cool, it's
one
not
different
cool.
Black Panther.
Oh yeah, I definitely think they should have done. I think we should have at least. Look, I think if they're going to follow up with season 2, Eyes of Wakanda season 2, I would say focus on Black Panther. And I'm not saying that we get the Black Panther from the films. I'd happily have a Black Panther from 2,000 years ago.
Yeah,
if there was one.
Yeah, 1 million BC. I want to see that adapted.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool. Jason Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they should just do that. Maybe 4 episodes on 1 million.
That'd be sick. I would totally watch that. Yeah.
I think that's what we needed. Is something like that. I would be down with that.
I mean, this one just seemed like, I don't know. For 4 episodes, I don't know. Like it should have been more focused. If you're gonna do an anthology, maybe 6 episodes, because they're all random episodes. But it's like 4. It's like, why not do a little bit more if it's so 4 like Marvel Zombies, short little self-contained story, right? Anthology series, you're not really. I almost don't see the point of just doing 4 stories.
I think
like
6 episodes may. I mean, we still may not have overly enjoyed it, but 6 episodes anthology style, with then looping in at the end could be cool, or even a hint, that that future person was coming. Maybe like the 3rd episode.
Yes,
we see her or something. I don't know.
No, they get yes. I think I don't know. They were working on a short.
There wasn't enough time to build up to them.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, look, I would draw a line here. I'm a 3. You're a 3.5. I think overall, I think you're getting the vibe here. It was all right. Like we say, I don't normally look at Rotten Tomatoes, but 52% average. So they're kind of sitting on 3 out of 5. If you look at it as well, it's kind of sitting in the middle.
Yeah.
92% for the critics, which says a lot because they're going into it with a different lens. I mean, I guess we could say we're critics. I guess you could say that we're critics.
Yeah, we're a good balance.
Right, okay. Next episode, which will be next Friday, the 5th of December, join both myself and Steph for reviewing this year's both Predator movies, the animated one that came out on Disney Plus and Predator Badlands, which came out a couple of weeks ago in the cinema.
Badass.
Yeah, we're back for Predator. We may have a different vibe next week, so come back for next week. You can follow us on social media, we're Instagram, Facebook, all the others. Maybe we shouldn't be on Twitter if people get threatened to get killed, but no, we're on Twitter as well. I don't really use it that much. Instagram seems to be where most people say hello. So come say hello, but equally say hello in the chats if you're watching the rewind. So you can listen to this as a podcast as well, and all your favorite podcasting platforms. Please remember to give us 5 stars and all that. And we will let you go, and we will see you next week.